guys. As you see, you guys generate the topics, but I will talk on. So I'm about Ryan Garcia versus Tank Davis. What Hopkins was saying, um, and basically Hopkins was talking to his butt. I mean, what is Hopkins doing there? What is Hopkins' role in Golden Boy Promotions? You know what I'm saying? Hopkins needs to stop hating on black fighters, man. We hating on black fighters these days. But Leonard Elby obviously is very supportive of Tank, and though Mayweather Promotions, the company at least, is not right now the promoter of Tank Davis, it doesn't mean that people behind Mayweather Promotions are not supporting and helping Tank Davis in logistics of how to have done this negotiations, how to move forward. Now, when looking at Hopkins, was out of his place to say what he said about Leonard Elby, by the way. Um, but when we look at Hopkins, really, what is his role in Golden Boy? He's a spokesperson for Golden Boy. He's not a recruiter. He don't do shit. But he's the one talking about Leonard Elby. A man actually managed Tank Davis, brought him to the point where he is, and still supporting him to this day, and actively supporting the fight with Tank Davis versus Ryan Garcia in various ways in the background. I don't get Bernard Hopkins, man. The dude has nothing good to say about black fighters. Not one damn thing. He went in on Devin Haney. Now he's going in on Tank in terms of Leonard Elby. Still need to know his place, man. You're not helping the sport. Caleb Plant versus David Benavidez. I think Caleb Plant is going to beat David Benavidez. I'm going to be real with you guys. Got hell more of experience. Has more versatility. Got good power. Got good defense. You know. David Benavidez thinks he can pull a Canelo, put pressure, 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 pressure. I think he'll beat Caleb Plant that way. He's going to have a rude awakening. Stephen Fulton versus Naoya Inoue. Unlike Tony Harrison across the seas, faced Tim Tszyu, that's that. Stephen Fulton's not a guy who fades. He's not a guy who can just box. He can do it all. He can rumble. I don't know if Fulton has ever even been dropped. So shout out to Tony for crossing the season facing Tim Zoo, but Stephen Fulton's a different beast. You know, just like how Devin Haney's a different beast. You know what I mean? So I actually expect Fulton to beat Naoya Inoue. Plant versus Benavidez, good fight. Fulton versus Inoue, good fight. Davis versus Ryan Garcia, good fight. Just waiting for Devin Haney, Vasily Lomachenko to be official, man. You know, that's the fight we're going to see. We got a date, which is I think it's April the 20th, May the 20th. Need a venue. Need a venue. What you need in the building? You guys come through. Let's chop it up. By the way, you can donate via PayPal. Link is in the comment section or chat section, whatever. All right, man. I'm very tired right now. Been speaking for about 8 minutes. I don't think I have much more to say right now when it comes to boxing. Even though there's a lot going on in boxing, I think I'm good enough right here. I like to keep it to 15-second clips these days. I really like to ramble on and on, hear my voice. If you guys want to donate to this channel, feel free to do so. I'll put the link in the chat section, the comment section after this video is finished streaming. What else is there to say right now? I mean, we got some upcoming fights. We got negotiations happening for different other fights. You know, boxing is boxing. You know what I mean? Nothing really to hoop holler about. Tim Tszyu did his job. He did the job that he was supposed to do. People, I heard my boy Greg Hackett saying he thinks Tony Harrison got him. He was screwing around, but Tony Harrison wasn't screwing around. Some people feel it was Tony Harrison's weight. It wasn't his weight. It was what Tim Tszyu was doing. Tim Tszyu was neutralizing what Tony Harrison was doing. He's countering his jab. That's why Tony won looking for a 1-2. Because getting countered. And Tim Tszyu, was timing. Anyways, man, people, I ain't got much more to say. Your boy's out of here. ZS says, did you do boxing back in the days? I never professionally boxed, no. But I do every now and then train. Kind of on and off now because I'm doing other things with my time. But I love the sport of boxing a lot. Uh, what else you want to know? You know, you guys got anything in boxing y'all want to talk about? Something you might want to break down? Whatever. Let's talk now because you know I'm not gonna be around here all the time. I got other things I got to do. I just taking a supper break. So I was eating some. Said, let me try and continue the video. ZS thinks, who do you think is the greatest boxer of all time? All right, I'm gonna be real with you, right? There's no one greatest boxer of all time. There's no one great. The reason being, let me explain. For that to happen, you got to pull back dead people, living people, and they got to face each other. The real way how we know who's the best in boxing is when they face each other in the ring, right? Who beats who, right? And we don't really have no way of doing that. So the honest answer is there is no one greatest boxer of all time. There will never be because if you're saying of all time, that means you got to look go to the future somehow and be able to see and say, oh, okay. And you come back to the present and you say, oh, but you don't know. You don't know who's going to come after. You don't know. You know, most people recognize Muhammad Ali as the greatest of all time or the GOAT. So he's recognized as the GOAT. And I recognize him as the GOAT. Clarissa Shields is recognized as the greatest woman boxer of all time. The quote. I go with it. The accomplishment back up what they say. Muhammad Ali was bigger than boxing. He did other things outside of the sport of boxing that made him great as well. So some people say Muhammad Ali, but you could, in some respects, you could have a handful of people that you pick who could qualify for that because of the accomplishments they did in boxing, and then on top of that, the personalities that they had and the impact they had on the world. So it's sort of subjective in some respects, and in other respects, it's like ZS says Sugar Ray Robinson and Floyd Mayweather, greatest of all time. Again, two highly accomplished fighters in different ways. You know what I mean? Depends on your criteria. What are you arguing? Um, Sugar Ray Robinson had like 72 welterweight fights or welterweight and under 72 fights at welterweight, right? He had five defenses. No, four defenses. He had five championship fights. Um, the guy who he was supposed to face, Marty Servo, ducked his ass, so he had to end up facing forgot his name. Forgot who what the guy's name is. It's strange. How could I forget the guy's name? But he ended up facing somebody else. So when people talk about Devin Haney, he's a paper champion. What do you really mean by that? You know what I'm saying? If the champ gives up his belt, so you have to fight for his vacant title, you can't be considered a paper champion because the actual guy that you're supposed to fight, he surrendered his belt, so he wouldn't be able to fight you. So he wouldn't fight you, right? Kind of like what happened with Gennady Golovkin and Erislandy Lara, right? Gennady Golovkin just surrendered his belt, the WBA title, so he wouldn't face his mandatory, which was Erislandy Lara. Erislandy Lara is 39 years old. Gennady Golovkin is 40 years old. Right? Here's what it is. You can't knock Erislandy Lara and be calling him a paper champ when the actual champ didn't want to face him. ZS says, Terrence Crawford or Spence, who's ducking who? Well, if they end up facing each other, it don't really matter. It looked like they're going to face each other June this year, so it really don't matter. And once they face each other, that's all that matters. And if they do, then that's that. But if you want to know who was the guy that pulled out of negotiations, it was Terrence Crawford. He pulled out of negotiations with Errol Spence. You should never do that, ladies and gentlemen. Or if you're going to do that, notify the other parties so that you can go ahead and get your fight in, get your work done, and then come back to negotiations. So that's not a good thing that Terrence Crawford did. So I wouldn't say necessarily that Terrence Crawford ducked Errol Spence because I think they're doing negotiations right now as we speak. So I don't think he ducked Errol Spence per se, but he sure as hell he was the one that kind of cut short the negotiations. Ziaz says, "Did you ever want to be a boxer?" Uh, Let me put it to you this way. I love boxing. I really do. Did I want to be a professional boxer? No. But because I talk so much boxing, people were saying, "Hey man, you might want to train some people and stuff." I would say like, you know what? This is what I'm gonna say. I would say, look, let me go take a couple fights, put a couple fights under my belt, and then if I'm any good at it and what I'm saying, I can translate into what I'm doing, then maybe I could train some people. So that's how I was looking at it. But I've been not committed to boxing that much in terms of the doing aspect for now close to a year. So I was focused. Then I was dialing. I was doing my thing. I was weight training. I was getting down to 154. I weighed something like 180 something now. I got down to 154. I was running. I was doing different exercises, and I was trying to shadow box and train and stuff like that. And I was looking for a coach in my country. One of the people right now, Claude Noel, he's blind and he also has an amputee. He has a leg that's amputated. So I'm still trying to figure out what happened to this champ because he's the former WBA lightweight champion of the world. He lives in my country, but he's not doing too well. And I put out a notice about that. The other guy is Leslie Tiger Stewart. That's another guy with expertise. And there are a couple other trainers in my country, of been there, done that kind of trainers who I would like to be under because I have to get a trainer. But with boxing, I love the sport so much that I actually do the sport, right? Have I competitively in any competitions? No, not yet. But I have sparred a little bit, and I really enjoy it. I enjoy the sweet sides of the sport, of course, even though I do get hit when I'm sparring and fighting. But I still appreciate the sweet sides. Zia says, "Do you think Floyd could have beaten Winky Wright? There were talks of them fighting in the past." Okay, so you more about a historical thing. You don't really want to talk about any current things today in boxing. Um, to be honest with you, ZS, who knows? Is the honest answer. Who knows, really? Right? Could he have beaten Winky Wright? Absolutely. Once you say could, it's possible. Anything's possible in boxing, right? So I don't know. Floyd was going to be coming up when they were supposed to fight. I think Floyd was coming up from 140. He'd have come up from 140 and go straight up to 154. Winky Wright would have been at 160. I think he just fought Felix Trinidad, beat him. So he'd have to move down 6 pounds to 154. So Floyd would have to jump up two weight classes. Winky Wright would have to come down one weight class. And I think that if I'm not mistaken, Winky Wright had not as yet fought. Had Winky Wright fought? No, he had not. He had not as yet fought Bernard Hopkins. Bernard Hopkins showed you could beat Winky Wright by baiting him to attack you. And once he attacks you, his guard is open, his peekaboo is open, and then you could counter him, right? And Floyd was a master of bait and counter, right? He'd bait you and then counter you. Another guy who's really good at bait and counter, that's his thing, was Roberto Duran. So I could see Floyd, baiting Winky Wright into opening up his defense to go for his offense, especially he liked to pop that jab. And I could see Floyd countering the southpaw with his right hand. Yeah. But Winky Wright was a defensively responsible fighter. In his first attempt at a world title, he lost to the Argentinian boxer who I believe Pernell Whitaker later on faced. So I can't remember the Argentinian boxer's name. It's coming to me, but yes, is it Castro? Julio Cesar Castro, I think it was. I could be wrong. But anyway, um, yeah. So it's possible that Floyd could have beaten Winky Wright. It's also possible that Winky Wright could have beaten Floyd. Depends on the size. You know, Winky Wright was a big. He would have been a huge 154. Unless they were going to put in a reaction clause. Um, he would have been a huge 154. And Floyd may be going up in weight, facing a guy coming down in weight. May have been too much for Floyd. Who knows? Now, nobody's ever been too much for Floyd. Floyd is used to be a smaller guy in fights in terms of weight. Um, Winky Wright, I think, had a longer reach than Floyd, so that would have made for an interesting fight. Um, Winky Wright was like a machine. Floyd was like a machine. So you never know. You never know. They never got matched up, so we can't definitively say anything. I mean, I could come from my analytical mind, for example, and talk about it. You know, I would think that certain things favor Floyd more than Winky Wright. We've seen Floyd fight southpaws. We've seen Floyd fight. Um, let's see. We've seen Floyd fight southpaws. Has he fought a defensive southpaw? Let me see. There's Pacquiao, Victor Ortiz. These are all aggressive southpaws. Zab Judah had good defense, but again, an aggressive southpaw. Who else we got? A couple other southpaws he faced before facing Zab Super Judah. So I don't know, man. That's a good question. Winky Wright was a defense first kind of guy, safety first. So who knows? Mystic Mac says, "What do you think of Salt Pappy?" Salt Pappy, Salt Pappy, man. Salt Pappy's a nice softball, man. He's sweet for his skill set. I mean, he's not. I mean, the guys he's facing aren't, world class fighters, but he's much more advanced, and he's a smart boxer compared to them. He's Salt Pappy ain't. I mean, Salt Pappy ain't nothing really out there, like in terms of boxing and becoming a professional boxer. On a professional stage, facing other professional boxers who have been doing the sport for a while. He wouldn't look that great, but against competition that he's been facing, he looks good. He's sensational. I'm not gonna lie, he looked good. Mystic Max says, "Has he really only been boxing for 2 years?" That's what I heard in the video. He been boxing for 2 years, but he been doing the thing on and off. He been training and shit before that. He obviously had. It's not just he just training for 2 years. But again, he's not okay. So all these guys he just talked about, Salt Pappy, you know, um, Tommy Fury, Jake Pauls, what's the other guy? Logan Paul, KSI, his brother. These guys are novices, okay? They novices. They almost debutants. Jake Paul has what, 6 fights? He's a novice, right? You you, you wouldn't put Jake Paul in there with a world champion at cruiserweight. You wouldn't do that. You wouldn't put him in there with Battle Jack. You wouldn't put him there with Lawrence Okoli. You know what I'm saying? You wouldn't put him in there with even a former world champ. You know what I'm saying? Them guys is way levels above those guys, right? Way levels like the knowledge they have, because boxing's all about knowledge, right? Boxing's all about you know what to do in that ring, right? And Jake Paul is nowhere near those guys. It's just not conditioning wise, every in every single kind of way. Because boxing experiences everything. What do you think of Canelo versus Bitabiev if they have a box in the same division as Bivol? Canelo beats Bitabiev, I think. That's my opinion. It's just an opinion. I'm gonna tell you why. All right. You saw Bitabiev versus Anthony Yard, and you saw Anthony Yard was landing his punches on Bitabiev. He was countering Bitabiev. He was landing shots on Bitabiev. And Canelo is just a whole different beast. Y'all don't understand. Canelo is something. Okay. The problem with Canelo is his foot cardio. He can't keep it. He can't keep a high activity up there for 12 rounds. His feet not like that. You know, his feet ain't that good. I don't know what he is now. I don't know what his condition is like now, but that is his weakness. He got quick reflexes. He's cat-like. He's fast. You know, throws great combinations and everything, but he's not very consistent with it. Like he can't keep that up for 12 rounds. He can't. Right? That's his problem. Um, if he faces Bivol again, Bivol gonna beat his ass. Um, if he faces Beterbiev, he'll beat Beterbiev. I know that sounds crazy because Beterbiev looks like a monster, but he ain't no monster. You all saw that. I guess Anthony Yarde was doing well with him. Now Anthony Yarde is a huge cruiserweight, mind you, but the point is, I'm sorry, a huge light heavyweight. He's a, he's like a cruiserweight. That's why I said that. But I'm gonna be real with you. If Badou Jack was still at light heavyweight, Badou Jack would beat Artur Beterbiev. Badou Jack would beat Artur Beterbiev because Badou Jack is an inside fighter and he lands some nasty body shots and he knows how to position his body to take away certain shots that Beterbiev like to throw. Beterbiev is not really an inside fighter; he's more of a mid-range fighter. So I see Badou Jack beating him, but Badou Jack's much bigger now. He's at cruiserweight. So, but a guy like Bivol beats Beterbiev, man. Beats him easy. Makes it look easy, right? Canelo would beat Beterbiev as well because one, Canelo would be quicker than him. Two, Canelo got defense. See, if you look at Bivol versus Canelo, Bivol didn't really land all that much punches on Canelo, right? All the guys that Beterbiev has faced, including Anthony Yarde, haven't had the level of defense that Canelo has, right? You don't just hit Canelo like that. You don't just catch him like that, right? Um, the only guys who actually tagged up Canelo were Billy Joe Saunders, and he still didn't get to do damage because his eye, Canelo messed up his eye. Caleb Plant didn't seem like he could really hurt Canelo, but his jab was really putting in some good work. And Dimitri Bivol, them is the only guys that actually tagged up Canelo, right? Beterbiev is nowhere on the level of sophistication as those guys I just mentioned. He's not, right? He's a good fighter. He's learning. He's growing as a fighter. He got heavy hands, but he's not on that level. All right? If a guy like Anthony Yarde, who ain't got a lot of amateur experience, but has learned a lot in the program, could give him that kind of problems and beat him up and bust up his eye and stuff. What do you think a guy with savvy and skill and ability like Canelo could do to him? Right? With defense, slickness. It's much harder. Right? So I got Canelo beating Beterbiev if they ever face each other. But Canelo does not beat Dimitri Bivol. He just never does. He can come in for the rematch. He's going to get his ass beat again. Until he can work on his foot cardio, be consistent, keep the same rhythm and tempo, maybe even slow down the rhythm and tempo to what you want. But first, you got to match the guy's rhythm and tempo. If he can't do that, he's going to get beat again. And he will. You know what I mean? But Canelo's a hell of a fighter. He's an incredible fighter. Incredible fighter. You know? Very, very, very few fighters can beat him. I don't have David Benavidez beating him. Canelo beats David Benavidez. You know? Caleb Plant, I think, beats David Benavidez. So if Caleb Plant beats David Benavidez, Caleb Plant might get a chance back at Canelo. Might. Because Canelo had a tough time with Caleb Plant. He couldn't land flush on him like he wanted to. Zia says, if Floyd was around today, would he and Terrence Crawford have a great boxing bout since Crawford is switching her longer reach? I don't know, man. You asking some interesting questions, though. Demo Gaming says, what's up? I would say this, right? So I've said it, and I've been on record saying it, that I think guys like Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence and these guys, could possibly beat Floyd Mayweather or give him a really rough night because again, these guys been sitting down watching Floyd. I am watching how he fights and the nuances to what he does. I mean, it's not easy. Let me just let you guys know, it's not easy to time Floyd, right? Floyd's a guy. He throws feints all the way, and when you least expect it, he's gonna attack you, right? So that's the kind of way Floyd's a very ambushed fighter, very nuanced. It's hard to get his rhythm. So he's a difficult fighter to face. You know, and on his game, I mean, even at what is he now, 46? Even at 46 years of age, this man still be doing this thing. You know what I'm saying? And his reflexes have slowed down significantly, and he's still being able to pull it off. I mean, competition he's facing not world class, but still, you know, the guy's able to razzle dazzle and dude be dancing and spinning and all kinds of stuff in the ring while he's boxing. He's having a good old time. He's not really, you know, he's just something, man. Demo Gaming says, just getting in what's the current topic, my brother. Whatever you want to talk about, man, I'm just going to chop it up with you. You know, present, past, some of the future fights you guys want to talk about in boxing. What fight really is exciting you guys? What you guys are excited to see? What fight are you excited to see this year? You know, is there any fight you excited to see this year? Tank versus Ryan, says Demo Gaming. Okay. Okay. Uh, Tank versus Ryan, that's Tank's gonna win that fight. Tank's gonna win that fight. Ryan still don't have the experience, man. He don't have that experience, you know. He don't have the experience. Experience is everything. Tank been in there with every single kind of guy you could think of. He been in there with long guys like Mario Barrios. He been in there with shorter guys than him, like Cruz, uh, Pitbull. He been in there with fast fighters. He's been in there with slow fighters. He's been in there with former world champions. He been in there. Ryan hasn't faced a world champion yet. He don't. Ryan talking about facing Tank, and he's all zoned in on Tank, but he don't understand. He don't understand what he's about to get himself involved in. And he's a big, strong guy. Don't get me wrong. But Tank wins that fight. Demo Gaming says I have Tank winning as well. One reason is Ryan's lack of defense. No, Ryan's tightened up his defense. Joe Gooson's a great trainer, and Joe Gooson will ensure that Ryan tightens up his defense. And Ryan gonna give Tank a hell of a fight. It's gonna be a hell of a fight. Don't get me wrong. It's gonna be very exciting because these two guys are very exciting fighters. Uh, the thing about it is though that um, one guy has a lot of experience. You know, just took another fight, and the other guy he didn't take another fight, and he really severely lacks experience. Like he has never been on that level. He's never faced a world champion. He's never, you know what I mean? He faced a guy that was interim champion a long time ago in I forgot what his last fight anyway. But he never faced nobody like Tank. You know what I mean? So Ryan's he lacks a lot of experience. That's the problem. And he gonna learn a lot. Tank gonna teach him some stuff. You know. Uh, and we all see what Mario Barris could do. He just recently Mario Barris just came out of knocking out a welterweight. You know what I mean? So now, see, there are certain fights in boxing I can't predict, right? I really can't. But all you got to do, so if you want a definitive answer about how a fight would go down, the day of the weigh-in, you look to see how dudes look, how dudes be talking, how they progressing, and that's how you know. Definitive. Mystic Max says, I can see Ryan having success in there. I thought Rawley was going to get destroyed, but he did better than I thought he would against Tank. I mean, Rolly Romero lasted longer than I expected. Maybe. You know, Raleigh can punch. So Tank respected his power. But I mean, the kind of mistakes that Raleigh made showed his inexperience. You know, you don't come throwing lead right hands with your chin up in the air, reaching for your opponent. He was reaching in. That's how he got check up. Well, it wasn't a check hook. It was a left count, right? You know, so that was on him. Raleigh gonna be fighting though for the WBA Super Lightweight Championship of the World, so he may become a world champion, a bona fide world champion this time around. We'll see. At 140, that'll be interesting if he's in the mix. Um, but Ryan is not Raleigh. Okay, Ryan fights different to Raleigh, completely different to Raleigh. Ryan's much faster than Raleigh. Ryan doesn't really telegraph his punches like Raleigh. Ryan has the right hand, which is the southpaw killer, you know, which is what a lot of people are underestimating. They're thinking about Ryan's left hook, but he's got a right hand. You know what I mean? He throws the right hand really well. Throws a nice jab behind. He throws a nice strong jab, and he comes with the right hand. Ryan can fight on the inside. He can fight on the outside. Ryan is versatile. It's just like I said before. The problem with Ryan is, he's never been, against competition like this. He's never. This is the first time he's gonna step up to the plate to real competition. And it's not that Tank might be one hitter quitter and knock him down with one punch or some shit like that. No, Tank's a calculated fighter. Don't get it twisted. He might get tagged up in the face and all of that with the fighters who he allowed that to happen because he thinks he's stronger than them and therefore he can take that calculated risk. Against Raleigh, he didn't get tagged up in the face at all, right? Raleigh didn't tag him up. It was throwing those jabs to the body and stuff, but Tank was starting to close the distance, and then once he found himself within range, he looked to counter Raleigh. Okay, so he boxed Raleigh smart. With Ryan's gonna be longer, so Tank still have to close the distance on him. But again, how Tank assessed Ryan could make a big difference in how this fight goes. It's because the fight the fights for Tank to either win or lose. You know what I mean? Because Tank got all the experience. Ryan has no experience at the championship level. None. Zero. Nothing. Right? He just got the desire to beat Tank. And he feels he's the guy that can do it. And he does have skill sets and he does have abilities to beat Tank. So it's possible. But you can't count on one punch or on one situation to capitalize on, because the situation may never come. Punch may never come. So but Ryan's a good boxer. He's also a good boxer, but he flat-footed. He a flat-footed fighter. You're not wrong, of course, but I see exceptions. I feel like take Sandor versus Mikey Garcia, for example. Sandor technically didn't have the experience to beat Mikey, but completely outclassed him. But Sandor, though, had qualities that gave Mikey problems. What I mean by that is Sandor Martin was a boxer, right? Sandor Martin is a boxer. Now, what qualities does Ryan have foot-wise to give Tank problems? Sandor move on his feet, move in and out, use the ropes really well. Ryan, his footwork ain't that great. His footwork's not that great. He gonna be in front of Tank. He ain't gonna be trying to use the whole entire ring. He gonna be in front of Tank, and that's not a good thing, right? It's not a good thing. Standing in front of Tank is not a good thing. Can he box a little bit on the back foot? Of course he can box on the back foot. But he's not the quickest guy on his back feet because he try to plant to get power. And once you set him with Tank, Tank will just adjust his distance and keep it moving because Tank can box off the back foot. Mystic Max says, yeah, if only his foot speed could match his hands. Exactly. So, and not, no, wait, hold up. It's not his foot speed needs to match his hands. His foot speed needs to match Tank's foot speed. It don't matter if it matches his hands or not. You understand what I'm saying? Because what foot speed is this. You could have the fastest feet in the world if you don't get into position. If you're not using that to get into position on your opponent, to get the right angle on your opponent, it doesn't really matter. There are people, they got fancy footwork and they have great footwork or whatever people want to call it, but they cut wide angles, you know, or they don't cut the right angles, so they're wasting a whole bunch of energy. And you wonder, why do they even have fast feet? What is the use? Because let me explain something to you, right? So I'm sitting in front of you right now, right? Now I could just move backwards like this and then just start moving like this, and my feet are moving really fast or whatever, and I'm making a wide circle on you, right? I'm making the widest circle possible, and I'm using the whole entire ring, and I'm making a wide circle on you, right? But you could cut me off, right? You could just slide to the side like this and cut me off. Versus, I'm sitting in front of you here, and instead of doing all of that excessive movement, I just cut an angle right here. Or I cut an angle right here. A sharp, acute angle. I change the angle on you. Easy. Just one step. Whoop. Instead of all this wide movement out here. So it's how you use your feet in boxing. It's not about how fast your feet are. It's not about how explosive you are. It's about where you put your feet. Now, having said that, let's say the other guy has the IQ like me. He knows where to put his feet. Now, if he's got quicker feet than I do, he gets in position before I do. And so I may be a step behind him. How do I deal with that? I have to adjust my distance so that I can see when he gets into position. Otherwise, I'll have to go move further away from him so I can see that. You understand? That's how boxing works. So, because timing beats speed, and timing has to do with how far away you are from your opponent, and then if you can catch them when they're either resetting or when they're out of position. That's what timing is. And you can do it in deceptive little ways. Like I can be just doing like this, doing little steps, but I'm actually shuffling into the angle I want you to go into. Or I set a trap for you so that you walk into the trap. You understand what I'm saying? And that's how timing works. See, to get a guy to do what you want him to do is what boxing's about. You want to get that guy in a certain position where you could capitalize on it. So when you hear people say, well, Floyd read this guy's mind, no, he set him up. He set a trap for him, and the guy walked into the trap, and that's how Floyd was able to handle it. And the guy's like, man, he knew what I was going to do before I did it. No, he set a trap for you. So obviously he knew he was trying to bait you into going into this position, and you bit the bait. And it looks like he knows what you're going to do in advance because he set a trap for you. You understand? Mystic Max says Ryan doesn't use as much upper body head movement as well as Tank does. He move his head. he can slip punches and stuff like that. He got skills. Ryan got skills. He just don't have the experience. He had a lot of amateur experience, but amateur pros ain't amateurs. You know what I mean? Tank got way more experience when it comes to fighting all kinds of different fighters at the highest level. That's what Ryan doing. And I'm not saying that guarantees Tank win. I'm not saying that at all. Ryan might catch him with something, or Ryan might outbox him. Keep it long and outbox him. But by and large, the kind of experience Tank has and the kind of nuances, how he's able to keep a guy's hand underneath his arm, how he's able to manipulate and maneuver a fighter in close and stuff like that, is what Ryan don't know. Tank got a lot of veteran moves, like old school veteran moves from Aaron Pryor, the Hawk, Aaron the Hawk Pryor. Tank got a little bit of Aaron Pryor in him, got a little bit of Floyd Mayweather in him, got a little bit of Roy Jones Jr. in him, Got a little bit of James Toney in him. Got a little bit of Marvel Hagler in him. Got a little bit of Roberto Duran in him, and so on and so on. Sugar Ray Leonard, you know what I'm saying? He got all these little tricks, and I'm talking about the tricks that the veterans use. Tank got that kind of experience. He got the craft. It's not just the skills, but he got the craft of the boxing. All those little tricks. And his trainer be teaching them all these little tricks, all these little craft of boxing. So that, Tank ain't just this normal run of the mill kind of dude. That's what I'm trying to explain to you guys. See, and that's the difference between the pros and the amateurs as well. Opinion on Josh Taylor is about it. He's gritty. Josh Taylor's a gritty boxer, southpaw. Good inside fighting. Loves to use the shoulder to bump off his opponent and then land his punches. Can't fight you long. Can't fight you short. He got good boxing IQ. Uh, he's grimy. He'll break the rules a little bit. Be a little bit dirty. Josh Taylor's he's got a little bit of everything. You know what I'm saying? He did meet his match against Catterall, Jack Catterall. Taught him a lesson, schooled his ass actually, but he came back strong in the closing, in the closing rounds of the fight. So, he's a gritty guy. He'll fight it out to the very end. Um, him against Teofimo Lopez is a nice little fight. I think both of them are ducks though. For ducking Catterall and ducking Regis Prograis. But having said that, I think I'll give the nod in a fight like that to Josh Taylor. I give it to Josh Taylor. Um, I think Teofimo Lopez is more skilled as a fighter, but I think Josh Taylor, if he keeps it long, easy, you beat him. Because Josh Taylor can fight in close, or he can fight way on the outside. You know. Now, could Teo knock him down? Yeah, because sometimes Josh Taylor get caught in no man's land in between long and short. If he stay at mid range where Teofimo Lopez ranges, Teofimo Lopez will drop his ass. Josh Taylor's a big 140 pounder, one. And two, Josh Taylor is a very tough, sturdy guy. You could knock him down, he'd get back up with the same fury and come at your ass. He's that kind of dude. Very gritty. So, uh, he would give Teo a hell of a fight. Teo would have to fight on the inside, and Taylor would dominate on the inside against Teofimo Lopez. Teofimo Lopez ain't got no answer for inside fighting. He's a mid-range fighter, and I think Josh would dominate on the outside as well. But if he goes mid-range, Teo's gonna drop his ass. He'll get back up. Don't get me wrong, but Teo will drop. Demo Boxer says, to me, that's what separates the really great fighters from the rest. Are those legendary traits and skills from the past greats. I mean, everybody builds off the past greats, don't get me wrong. In their own ways, Keith Thurman with the legendary trainer that trained his career. And different fighters take different things from different people. I would say this, though. I know of some fighters who didn't watch the past greats, and they're great fighters today. You know what I mean? So I'm just saying that uh, boxing is just about the love of boxing is what drives us forward. And so whether you know of the legendary past greats or you got a trainer who was trained by somebody affiliated with somebody who may have been affiliated with one of the legendary past greats or whatever, I want to say that boxing is a sport where you can develop and learn on your own with a trainer, of course. But I always believe that the people who put in the hardest work, the hardest workers in boxing, you will get somewhere. But you got to really put in the work and the time because it's a lot of sacrifice, and it don't pay off for you till much later on if you make it, as far as some of these legendary fighters have made it in their careers. Do you think Manny Pacquiao was on steroids? I don't know if he was on steroids. Well, I'm gonna say this. Jessica Jimeno said George Foreman has a biographic movie coming out Oh, it's great, man. Great for George. Good for him. Um, do I think Manny Pacquiao's on steroids? Again, this is not something necessarily. This is not a topic necessarily that I care too much to talk about because his career is over anyway. But we all saw what happened with Conor Ben. We all saw what happened with Tyson Fury. We all saw what happened with Canelo Alvarez. You know what I mean? So boxing is one of those sports where you could even be caught dirty. You could be actually doping, and you get to still fight, right? Dillian White. What's the other guy's name? Big Baby Miller, right? All these guys were caught dirty, and they're still fighting, right? Uh, Povetkin, right? So something's drastically still wrong with the sport. Um, and until these people are not allowed to fight when they're caught dirty and consequences, that we all know it's very prevalent among the top echelon boxers in boxing, doping, right? So it may not be steroids. Uh, it may be, you know, uh, boosted up your red blood cell count illegally, right? Blood doping. It could be many different things that these guys are doing, and I just don't like it. I don't like it that the sport is like that. I think it has cost some people their lives. Um, and you talk about Pacquiao, but I mean, I'm just gonna say it. I'm just gonna be real. We had a bunch of people who were turned up, uh, turned up, doping, who we thought was clean, and they were sitting talking about, hey, I'm about clean boxing, I'm about clean for the sport, and then they found dirty. You know what I'm saying? And we talking about legendary fighters like Roy Jones Jr. was caught doping. Evander Holyfield was suspected of doping. You know what I mean? In the '90s, guys doped like crazy. You know what I mean? So, uh, it was Pacquiao on something, HGH or something. It's very possible. It's not. I'm not gonna rule that out because his head's huge, his hands are huge, his calves are huge. Shit, HGH baby, that's the sign of HGH right there, right? So and HGH, by the way, is human growth hormone. Okay, it enlarges the bones, builds more muscle at the limbs. So your hands get bigger, shoulders are bigger, your head is bigger, your calves and feet are bigger. And he always had cramps in his calves. If you are naturally bulking up and building mass, you ain't gonna have no cramps in your calves, man. Come on now. You know what I'm saying? So it's very possible. All right. Uh, I know there's only a few select people in the sport of boxing who came all the way up from flyweight and even fought as much as at super middleweight, super welterweight. So I've never heard, I've heard of one or two stories back in the day, but you know, uh, so it makes you wonder. It does make you wonder. But having said that, you know, it is a prevalent thing. It is a prevalent thing in boxing, and even with all these tests, all of these anti-doping tests, which, by the way, if somebody doing something fishy, you get caught. The problem with it is, what happens after you get caught? Are they going to suspend you from fighting for a long time? It should be a career ender if you're caught. You understand what I'm saying? That's not what's happening. That's not what's happening at all. All right, you guys are saying a bunch of stuff here. So let me see. So ZS says he's kind of sus. Jessica Gemeno says been studying his career before the movie comes out. Oh, cool, cool, cool. I think he stopped using the PEDs right before his last fight with Marquez when he got knocked out. I don't know about that, bro. just my opinion. I don't know, man. I don't know. Devil Boxing says exactly. Boxing has no regulations. Low. Yeah, the people who's supposed to be regulating boxing, like the BBBFC, caught contraband testing dirty, right? Then the WBC, which is not an anti-doping agency, reinstates this motherfucker. This dude, you was caught dirty, ninja. Why the hell is the WBC overriding that and allowing you to get back and talking about he used too much eggs? Get the fuck, man. You could just look at contraband and you know he was doping. Y'all know this man was doping. His skin looked leathery. Man, shit. That's the thing about boxing, man. Ziaz says, do you think boxing needs a UFC type of drug testing regulars? No, but it has it. What do you think VADA is? VADA and then USADA was in boxing, and they still test with USADA still. You can test with both. It don't make a difference. They catching these fools. They are catching these fools. That is not the problem. The problem is that these fools are getting a pass by the sanctioning bodies. The WBC just allowed, how many people has the WBC so far have been caught doping, allowed to go and fight? Let's talk. Oscar Valdez, Canelo Alvarez, Dillian White, Conor Benn. Okay? So they get caught dirty, and the WBC allows them to continue fighting. That's some bullshit. Okay? So that's the problem. It's not the anti-doping testing agencies, but there's a lot of money to do anti-doping to start with. But then after the agency finds this person dirty, the WBC just overturns everything and just allows the person to box. And they take the lamest ass excuses. Tyson Fury was caught dirty. He said it was wide bowl meat. Get the fuck. Come on, man. Like, really? Conor Benn got cleared. Do you think the egg story was bullshit? It's bullshit, y'all. It's bullshit. These guys know in advance what they put into their bodies. Demo Gaming says Margarita should have been banned from boxing after what he did to Cotto and got caught cheating. Before that, Mosley was right. Man, for real, bro. For real. He could have been banned as well. He ended up being banned, but it is what it is. Man, that's the dirtiness of boxing, y'all. You know, I mean, I'm glad they have anti-doping testing so we at least know these guys are dirty. And you can't make no excuses for them. I don't care what they say. You got caught dirty. You know what I mean? I don't know what the WBC to be doing. They be doing some crazy shit these days. With Suleiman, I don't know if Suleiman be smoking weed or something. Because I just don't get it. You know? But yeah, it's a serious issue and it's something worth talking about. Hey, let's talk about some fights that are coming up that you guys did not mention. All right, and I still think they're good fights. So you got Plant versus Benavidez. That's coming up next month. We got well, this one is not being made, so I can't say nothing about it. But Haney versus Lomachenko is a fight I would love to see. I got Haney on that one. Of course, coming up is Naoya Inoue versus Stephen Fulton. You know what I mean? CS says, I think Benavidez wins by controversial circumstances. I ain't winning shit. He's not winning shit. No, come on, man. Keller Plant will outclass him. Outclass him. Might even hurt him. You know, Keller Plant's a really good fighter, man. I'm glad they're facing each other, by the way. Zia says, bro, they're going to set up Caleb and make him lose. They see Benavidez as mega money making fight Canelo. No, they ain't gonna make. No, come on, man. That ain't gonna happen. Benavidez is gonna have to knock out Caleb to beat him. That ain't gonna happen. I don't think so. At least I think Caleb's smarter as a fighter now, having faced Canelo. I think Caleb might get his rematch with Canelo, and that'd be a good thing. He might. I'm not saying he will, but I got Caleb on it. Benavidez gonna have to show me he could beat Caleb Plant. Let me just put it that way. All right, man, people. I spent an hour and 54 seconds with you guys. I'm gonna pack it up right now because I'm kind of tired, and I'll talk more boxing with you guys some other time, man. Usyk versus Fury. Who do I got? Oh, that's a good fight though. If they ever make that fight, uh, that would be a good fight. Not too sure who would win. Usyk's a tactician. He's got good footwork. Got good hand speed. You know, he's southpaw. You know, Tyson Fury not really good with southpaws, as we saw with Otto Wallen, who closed the gap on him. But he did use his size and weight to kind of bully Otto Wallen for the remainder and tie him out. I don't know if he'd be able to do that with Alexander Usyk though. So Usyk does have a chance in this fight, man, against Tyson Fury. Yeah, because he showed us. He showed us. He beat Anthony Joshua twice, right? So he's not no guy to play with. You know what I mean? And Tyson Fury's a good tactician himself. Can he keep the fight long all the time? I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. But Alexander Usyk has been a danger to the heavyweight division. Him and Michael Hunter are problems. Just saying. Yeah, man. This was good talking with you guys, man. I would love to talk more with you guys, but I am tired. So I'm going to wrap it up right here. Y'all can always look for the 15-second clips that I put out there. You know, it's good talking with you guys. You can donate via PayPal if you so wish. Put the link in the comment section some other time. But boy, my boy, I'm tired. I was working all day. I just decided to talk a little bit of boxing with you guys before I go to sleep. So you guys have a good week. This weekend, you know what's coming up. The fight that is coming up this weekend is shit. I forgot what it is. I'm so tired I am. Hold on a second. I'm gonna tell you. Oh, okay. Yeah, the fight that's coming up this weekend is Ramirez versus Gabe Rosado. Gabriel Rosado. It's an all right fight. I mean, it's cool. Ramirez should win that one because Gabe don't fight at light heavyweight. Know what I mean, so shout out to Gabe, man. Gabe getting another fight with Golden Boy. So good for him. Hopefully, Crawford for Spence can work out, and maybe we have that fight. Um, we'll see what happens. But shout out to Tim Zoo. For showing that he belongs at this level. Shout out to who else? That's about it. Sobriel Matthias. Shout out to Sobriel Matthias. Securing the IBF Super Lightweight Championship of the world. Yeah. I'm gonna catch you guys later though. I'm what you need. I am tired. I need to get out of here. I'm gonna catch you guys later though. Peace.